Wisdom comes with the ability to be still. Just look and just listen. No more is needed. Being still, looking and listening activates the non-conceptual intelligence within you. Let stillness direct your words and your action. Whenever any kind of deep loss occurs in your life, such as loss of possessions, your home, a close relationship, or loss of your reputation, job, or physical abilities, something inside you dies. You feel diminished in your sense of who you are. There may also be a certain disorientation. Without this, who am I? When a form that you had unconsciously identified with as part of yourself leaves you or dissolves, that can be extremely painful. It leaves a hole, so to speak, in the fabric of your existence. When this happens, don't deny or ignore the pain or the sadness that you feel. Accept that it is there. Be aware of your mind's tendency to construct a story around that loss in which you are assigned the role of victim. Fear, anger, resentment, or self-pity are the emotions that go with that role. Then become aware of what lies behind those emotions, as well as behind a mind-made story. That hole, that empty space. Can you face and accept that strange sense of emptiness? If you do, you may find that it is no longer a fearful place. You may be surprised to find peace emanating from it. Whenever death occurs, whenever a life form dissolves, light, the formless and unmanifested, shines through the opening left by the dissolving form. That is why the most sacred thing in life is death. That is why the peace of light can come to you through the contemplation and acceptance of death. When you walk through a forest that has not been tamed and interfered with by man, you will see not only abundant life all around you, but you will also encounter fallen trees and decaying trunks. Wherever you look, you will find death as well as life. Upon closer scrutiny, however, you will discover that the decomposing tree trunk and rotting leaves not only give birth to new life, but are full of life themselves. Molecules are rearranging themselves. There is only the metamorphosis of life forms. What can you learn from this? Death is not the opposite of life. Life has no opposite. The opposite of death is birth. Built into the very structure of the egoic self is a need to oppose, resist, and exclude to maintain the sense of separateness. So there is me against the other, us against them. The ego needs to be in conflict with something or someone. That explains why you are looking for peace and joy and love, but cannot tolerate them for very long. You say you want happiness, but are addicted to your unhappiness. Your unhappiness ultimately arises not from the circumstances of your life, but from the conditioning of your mind. How easy it is for people to become trapped in their conceptual prisons. The human mind, in its desire to know, understand, and control, mistakes its opinions and viewpoints for the truth. It says, "This is how it is." You have to be larger than thought to realize that however you interpret your life or someone else's life or behavior, however you judge any situation, it is no more than a viewpoint, one of many possible perspectives. It is no more than a bundle of thoughts, but reality is one unified whole in which all things are interwoven, where nothing exists in and by itself. Thinking fragments reality. It cuts it up into conceptual bits and pieces. The thinking mind is a useful and powerful tool, but it is also very limiting when it takes over your life completely, when you don't realize that it is only a small aspect of the consciousness that you are. If you are in the habit of creating suffering for yourself, you're probably creating suffering for others too. These unconscious mind patterns tend to come to an end simply by making them conscious, by becoming aware of them as they happen. You cannot be conscious and create suffering for yourself. Whenever you deeply accept this moment as it is, no matter what form it takes, you are still, you are at peace. Spiritual seekers look for self-realization or enlightenment in the future. To be a seeker implies that you need the future. If this is what you believe, it becomes true for you. You will need time until you realize that you don't need time to be who you are. Naming and labeling are habitual, but that habit can be broken. Start practicing not naming small things. If you missed a plane, drop and break a cup, or slip and fall in the mud, can you refrain from naming the experience as bad or painful? Can you immediately accept the isness of that moment? As long as the ego runs your life, most of your thoughts, emotions, and actions arise from desire and fear. In relationships, you then either want or fear something from the other person. What you want from them may be pleasure or material gain, recognition, praise, or attention, or a strengthening of your sense of self through comparison and through establishing that you are, have, or know more than they. What you fear is that the opposite may be the case, and they may diminish your sense of self in some way. When you make the present moment the focal point of your attention, instead of using it as a means to an end, you go beyond the ego and behind the unconscious compulsion to use people as a means to an end, the end being self-enhancement at the cost of others. When you give your fullest attention to whoever you are interacting with, you take past and future out of the relationship, except for practical matters. When you are fully present with everyone you meet, you relinquish the conceptual identity you made for them, your interpretation of who they are and what they did in the past, and are able to interact without the egoic movements of desire and fear. Attention, which is alert stillness, is the key. How wonderful to go beyond wanting and fearing in relationships. Love does not want or fear anything.
You've been listening to Keita read from the Amazon bestseller Stillness Speaks by Eckhart Tolle. This reading is part of Keita Reads playlist, Eckhart Tolle The Collection. To keep the channel going, please like and subscribe. Go to the description and our channel page for information on how to purchase books from our affiliate links. This is James. Keita and I thank you for listening.